night wherever you are watching or listening in from. Trying something new today, so not sure. I'm making sure this is actually working first, but starting today to stream to both YouTube, well, obviously YouTube, but also Periscope and Twitch in addition to YouTube. So hopefully this works. Looks like it is, so we should be good to go on that end. I appreciate everybody's time. And yeah, rather than doing an episode of Crypto Happy Hour, figured, hey, today why don't we do a little bit of Crypto Coffee Hour? It is 7:30 in the morning. I am sure as hell not drinking alcohol at 7:30 in the morning. And as somebody else said, it's freezing out, so ice in the veins. Let's do iced coffee anyway. That is what I'll be rolling with this morning. But yeah, wanted to pop in, talk about some of the latest news that is happening in the crypto landscape. Fidelity being one of the big things that I think is really interesting to talk about. We also have the launch of WBTC, or wrapped Bitcoin, on Ethereum. I think some of you guys might have some questions as far as what that actually means, what that is. So we'll definitely talk about that further and obviously answer all of your questions as well. What's up, Rob Freelander? What's up, Dumbo? Rob got your voicemail, so we'll definitely be answering that and a few others on the channel here in the near future as well. One thing I do want to say too, so I've had some requests from other people to stream on Periscope and as well on Twitch. So I am now actually streaming, should be streaming on Periscope and on Twitch as well. So if you guys are fans of either Twitch or Periscope, I'm Crypto Bobby 12 on Twitch and on Periscope. It's just my Twitter name at crypto_Bobby. So we should be good to go on that end there. So one of the big things I think to just really kick things off and talk about in general is Fidelity and the launch, or the upcoming launch, of Fidelity's crypto custody service. I think it's something that, let me throw this bad boy in full screen. I think it's something that's definitely worthwhile in terms of talking about in more detail. And the reason I do think so, I think this is even, in many respects, kind of as big or as big as Backed. I think a lot of people talk about Backed being this massive thing that's going to drive and propel the market and all this crazy stuff. Fidelity, which is one of the biggest household names in finance, they custody and manage trillions of dollars of assets, and for them to be moving forward to launch a crypto custody service, that is a really big, very, I think right now, fairly understated deal in the marketplace. It's not sexy. Custody isn't sexy, but if you are a larger institution, I know we've been talking about the institutions coming to save retail investors, and that's probably not going to happen. But if there ever is a point in time in which large-scale institutions want some level of exposure, want to provide their clients with some level of exposure, and the options are Coinbase Custody or BitGo or Fidelity. Fidelity is going to get the call every single time, basically, 100% of the time. So it'll be pretty interesting to see what ends up happening with this in the long run. But I do think it is a highly underrated deal that, got a little bit of coverage. Bloomberg broke the news, or actually Zero Hedge maybe. But Bloomberg was the first major publication to start talking about this. And it's not that many people in crypto are talking about it, but like I said, I do think it's a really big deal when it comes down to the types of companies and institutions that are going to have to build infrastructure if cryptocurrency is going to be a large scale investment class in the future. Now, if you're looking more at along the lines of people using cryptocurrency as a payment solution, it doesn't really move the needle. It's not that big of a deal. But if you're talking about Bitcoin and some of these other crypto assets maybe as well in the future, but Bitcoin specifically becoming some level of a digital gold, some type of store of value, and other people outside of smaller, nimble, institutional type players, these crypto funds, and then just regular Joes being able to invest in this stuff. This is something that could potentially open the door up, and I do think is a very positive development that you should absolutely take note of. taking a look at some of these questions here. What's up, Michael? What's up, Red Fox Crypto? What's up, Turd Ferguson, Old School Gamer Rick, as always. So taking a look at some of these questions here. If you guys do have questions on the on Fidelity, definitely let me know. Happy to answer those as well. And then one other thing I think is certainly worth talking about here, and this is WBTC. So you can just pull up WBTC. Here we go. We'll pull this up. This is actually launching this evening, and we shall pull it up. It's at WBTC.network. And what this is, it's launching today. And this is essentially going to provide people the ability to trade at a very high level. You could trade Ethereum, or you could trade Bitcoin, or a Bitcoin peg token on Ethereum dexes. And you can do a lot of other things with this as well that I think will be fun and interesting to watch. So let me pull it over. You can do quite a few things with this. So number one, like what is exactly happening with WBTC and why is it somewhat notable? Number one, I think this could either work really, really well, or it could just flop on its face and have no positive effect whatsoever, and really just kind of flounder out. But what is happening with is wrapped Bitcoin? So essentially, WBTC, there is what's going to happen. You can see here, you could join the community, yada, yada, yada. There's a bunch of companies. The reason I know a decent amount about this is because we are supporting this initiative at AirSwap. So you can see the logo there. But what's happening is BitGo is a custodian, kind of similar to Fidelity, but it's a crypto native custodian. BitGo is a crypto custodian. What is happening is there is a number of companies, and they have partners, and this is audited, things like that. There are a number of companies out there that can provide BitGo with Bitcoin. So you have, let's say you have, in this case, Kyber has 50. They've provided 50 Bitcoin to BitGo. When BitGo gets that 50 Bitcoin, what they're going to do is they're going to, I believe they charge those folks a fee to custody that, and then they mint WBTC tokens, which are ERC20 tokens, and they mint them on a one-for-one basis. So right now, there are 65 WBTC that have been minted, and that has been because there have been that many Bitcoin provided to the network. And essentially what this allows is for a WBTC token, which is an Ethereum token, to be represented on a one-for-one basis with Bitcoin. So that token should theoretically be tied to the exact value of Bitcoin. Maybe there's some level of arbitrage or something like that, but that token should theoretically be tied to the value of Bitcoin. And why is this cool? Why does this matter at all? Well, there's a couple different things. So if you guys are familiar with MakerDAO or from MakerDAO and CDPs, you could collateralize a loan through, you could collateralize a loan potentially in the future with WBTC. Right now, MakerDAO has Ethereum or ETH collateralized CDPs. A lot of people, might not like Ethereum, but they might be interested in accessing a collateralized debt position, taking out a loan rather than doing that through a centralized party. You could do that with WBTC. In addition to that, there's also the opportunity and the potential to do something like compound finance. I've talked about this in the past, and a bunch of people thought this was BitConnect. Couldn't be farther from the truth. But essentially what you could do here potentially once WBTC becomes more liquid is you could have a borrow and supply market on, oh, wow, there you are. So literally compound finance, that's pretty funny. So compound finance is having a vote in their community for people to list WBTC. So you could see here, if you supply DAI to the network, you actually earn 3% interest. If you borrow DAI, you have to pay close to 10% interest. The same, you could do the same thing for Ether. You have wrapped Ether. You could supply Ether, you only make 0.15% annually, so it's pretty small, but you can actually borrow that. So the same thing might be happening in the near future for Bitcoin, essentially. And that type of service right now isn't really available outside of the use of centralized parties. So that's what makes this pretty cool. So what does what does W stand for? W stands for wrapped. It's the same concept as wrapped Ether. It's wrapped Bitcoin. It's essentially wrapped Ether helps to allow Ethereum or the Ether token to interact greater within the Ethereum network. So it's wrapped Ether is a 1-for-1 with Ether. Bitcoin or WBTC will be a 1-for-1 with Bitcoin. So that's how that really will work as well. And so I see JBags, MakerDAO breaking boundaries. I think MakerDAO is, to be pretty frank, one of the coolest projects in the crypto space right now. So if we go over here, if you guys aren't familiar, I'll probably make a video at some point in time walking you through exactly the way to create a CDP, because it's one of the cooler things you can do in the crypto landscape right now. I don't know if I have MetaMask connected. So essentially what this allows you to do is, it's pretty cool. You can take out a almost close to an interest-free loan that is tied to the value of that's essentially tied to the value of Ethereum, or at least the amount of loan you can take out. And so you can put up your Ether as collateral. So let's say you put up, if you have, let's say $1,000 and you want to put up that $1,000 as collateral, you can get a loan that gets paid out immediately to you in DAI, which is the DAI stablecoin. And they're doing a ton of different interesting things right now. You can see a CDP enables the generation of DAI stablecoins against the collateral that you currently own. So you have to put up 150% collateral to get that CDP back. You can put up more. And right now, the only collateral you can currently use is ETH, but in the future, there are plans to make this even a greater ecosystem. And why this is cool, in my opinion, is because you have the opportunity. You have really this is like, a lot of people, there's kind of a meme for Ethereum and for a lot of these other cryptocurrencies, but you have this decentralized finance movement. And when people talk about killing banks and, long Bitcoin, short the bankers, this is as much, if not more, in my opinion, long MakerDAO, long DAI, short the bankers, because this is the type of thing that really disrupts the financial system significantly. You have essentially the disruption of providing loans, and granted, these are collateralized and heavily collateralized loans, but it instantly mints essentially cash. DAI, yes, the entire DAI ecosystem could blow up at some point in time, but it instantly mints DAI for you, and at a very low cost. It's pretty incredible technology. I don't have MetaMask connected to my Brave browser right now, but I'll make a video on this if you guys are interested. Would love to hear in the comments if you're interested at all in hearing about the utilization of a MakerDAO CDP and exactly what it does. I'll gladly put a video together for you guys on that. Mike, congrats on your first day back at work. Good luck, buddy. Hope all is well. What's your take on Backed? So, actually, Anthony Suras, let's see. I believe Coinbase. I always put in GDAX because I'm too lazy to put in Coinbase Pro. See if this actually loads. Why it's not loading? There we go. So I believe Maker is at the very least. Do I have to sign in? Is Maker? Yeah, Maker. So Maker, there is a Maker market right now on Coinbase, but both Maker, I don't know if they, I guess maybe haven't opened up the books yet. Let's see. But the DAI market itself too. So DAI is the stablecoin associated with Maker, and it's really. There's $6,500 in DAI volume on Coinbase right now, which is pretty small, like very, very small, and the books are pretty crappy. HitBTC is actually the largest market right now on a centralized exchange, and DAI trades very well on decentralized exchanges. That's typically like one of the highest volume ones for us at AirSwap. DDEX does a lot of DAI volume. A lot of the other decentralized exchanges do quite a bit of DAI volume there as well. Okay, yeah, so I'm seeing some positive thoughts on a Maker video to show the CDP. So hopefully I can. It sounds complicated at face level, but in fact it's very simple, and I'd be happy to walk you guys through it, because whether or not you actually need a loan, I do think it's I do think it's really, really cool. I can walk through the exact use cases of kind of what people are using it for, some of the benefits of it, and then also can talk just highly about why I think it's really important. Because to be really frank, I think like Maker and what Maker is doing is one of the coolest projects, if not on Ethereum, in crypto as a whole, as far as decentralized finance and kind of moving the industry forward. I think it's one of the most interesting projects to me, especially if you're interested in finance as a whole. So sounds like some pretty cool comments on that. So scrolling through some of these questions here. So thoughts on Backed. So Backed is something that I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen, but this is crypto investor. I don't know who that crypto investor is. I don't know what Chepacap is, so I'm probably not going to click on it. But I think Backed is going to be important. I think Backed probably overstated or underestimated the amount of time it's going to take to launch something of this significance and get the regulatory approvals that are necessary. But like I said before, I do think Fidelity is one of the most interesting. Fidelity providing the ability for larger institutions to custody Bitcoin and crypto assets, if they so choose, is a huge deal. Backed is also going to be going after that market, but Backed is a new name. Fidelity is a household name in the finance world. I have 401ks with Fidelity. I'm sure a lot of you guys listening have 401ks. Have 401ks with Fidelity. They manage, I believe it was somebody tweeted, I think it was Bully tweeted, I think they manage over $2 trillion of assets. They manage, Fidelity manages more than like 20x or 15x of the entire crypto landscape right now, which is pretty crazy to think about. So the entire crypto market cap, Fidelity manages way more than that. So you just kind of want to put that into perspective and think about that there as a whole. So we can get to this. Future book Backed is BS. It's the American version of BitMEX. I don't think Backed and BitMEX are comparable at all. I personally don't believe that is the case. I also think that there's this like demonization of BitMEX too. Like people are like, oh, BitMEX needs to go away, yada yada yada. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think BitMEX clearly serves a market, and there are a significant amount of market makers. There is a ton of algorithmic trading and quantitative trading going on BitMEX, but I don't think that BitMEX is at fault for the downfall of cryptocurrency and people thinking like, crypto is not going to go up. Bitcoin is never going to go up again because we have BitMEX, things like that. As far as BitMEX might have, traders on BitMEX might have shorted the market down. It could always go back up. I do think that BitMEX does allow for more efficient price discovery on many assets, as does shorting cryptocurrency. I think that, when the only thing you can do is go long in a crypto asset and buy and sell it and not be able to short sell it with leverage, I do think that, it does allow for more efficient price discovery in the long run. 7 trillion. Oh, there we are, Rob. Appreciate it. Quan, this is it's a good question there in general. But essentially, what happens with just at a very high level, you can with a MakerDAO, with a Maker CDP, you collateralize Ethereum, and you have to over collateralize it. So the minimum, I believe that off the top of my head, I think the minimum that you can collateralize this CDP with is 150%. So what that means is if you are to I'm trying to think off the top of my head the exact numbers, but if you are to collateralize, you have to, I think, so for example, I collateralized 90 Ethereum into a CDP. So I put in 90 Ethereum into a CDP, and that 90 Ethereum is locked into that CDP. Then DAI, as soon as I lock that into a CDP, I am minted DAI. So they provide you with DAI via smart contract. You literally get paid in DAI, like the next block or whatever it is. However, when you collateralize, depending upon the amount you collateralize, the minimum you can collateralize is 150%. You can collateralize even more and more and more. What happens is your loan will get automatically liquidated if you hit the liquidation price of that loan. So in my case, my loan, my CDP has a liquidation price of $75, which means that if my loan goes down to, or if the price of Ethereum goes down to 75, or the price of ETH goes to $75, my loan can get liquidated. And there are people that are running bots out there that will automatically detect when a loan should be getting liquidated, and they get essentially rewarded by liquidating your loan. However, if you see the price of Ethereum dropping, you can put more collateral into the loan as well. So at a really high level, that's kind of what happens with Maker. But I'll make a whole video about it because I think it's really worth diving into and researching and talking about more. George, still working at AirSwap. Any progress going on? Yeah, there's still working at AirSwap. Been working a bit on the WBTC initiative, so excited for that to launch. If we go back, you can see where one of the partners there and have started working to start supplying WBTC. So it'll be available on AirSwap tonight when this launches as well, and have done. I have a really new tool that I worked with one of the developers at AirSwap. His name's Graham. Going to be launching that tomorrow too. It's like a supplementary tool to use on Ethereum. So I'll probably talk about that in a video. I think it's pretty fun. It's pretty awesome. It's a free tool that anybody can use, download. It's open source. Anybody can contribute as well. So it's going to be pretty fun. So that'll be coming out tomorrow, and just working on a number of different product advancements, just to more users, see more traction, a lot of fun stuff like that. Minus 30 degrees wind chill in Michigan. A good day to go skiing. No, thank you. No, thank you at all. I think it snowed up in Vermont. So hopefully we'll see. I think it's snowing up in Vermont right now. But yeah, I think Midwest is freezing. So apologies for anybody that's freezing their little butts off. That is not a great thing. So sorry to hear what you guys are going through there. Not attending work. Yeah, I wouldn't be attending work either if it was. It's actually pretty normal in New York today. Not bad at all. Taking a look at some of these questions, but definitely feel free to sound off more. If there's anything you absolutely must have answered, throw it in the super chat, and we'll definitely get to it there. I have a new little GIF for anybody that throws something in the super chat. And as I said before, I know there's been some comments in the past about putting the stream out to both Periscope and Twitch. As you can see in the bottom, it's now at twitch.tv/CryptoBobby12. If you guys are on Twitch and like anything there, and then on Periscope I think this should be streaming on Twitter. Hopefully it is. So I'm using a new service, a new streaming service at this point in time. So hopefully that's actually working and going through. On 27th, are the ETFs going to be approved? No. I personally do not think so. I don't think that there's a very strong chance that the ETF will be approved at this point in time. The one that I think had the highest likelihood, I don't necessarily know if I talked about this one, but I think the one that had the highest likelihood of being approved was the VanEck SolidX ETF. And this is one, I think it's, I forget his whole name, Gabor, Gabor. He's on Twitter. I don't want to butcher the pronunciation of his name, but he's been kind of going on a bunch of the different podcasts, and he's very visible and interactive on Twitter, which is pretty cool to see. But so the CBOE exchange withdrew the proposal for the VanEck SolidX Bitcoin ETF. As far as it went in from what there we go. Gabor Gerbox. Again, probably butchering the shit out of the pronunciation of that. But this was the one that was most likely to be quote unquote approved. I still thought that, after the pushback and the pushback, that this likely wasn't going to be approved. But I do appreciate the way in which the team around this handled this. There was starting to be a lot of commentary. Around the possibility of because of the government shutdown in the United States, that this would essentially get automatically approved. The catch to that is that I think that was actually kind of a loophole and potentially possible. But if it was automatically approved, they could go back and remove it. So the team at the team with the CBOE, VanEck, SolidX, the ETF that they were looking to put forward, decided to withdraw because of some of the uncertainty, and they wanted to just kind of further their chances of approval. I would say I'm still kind of bullish on the possibility around this team and their ability to get something approved, but I don't know at this point in time. I don't have any really confidence in the near term that a Bitcoin ETF will get approved. I think the other ones that might still be up for discussion are probably not going to probably not going to see anytime soon. So thank you very much, Anthony Saras. Elon Musk is Def Satoshi. That would be Hal Finney. That would be Hal Finney, at least in my opinion. Hal or Nick Szabo, or some combination of the two. So that's I love to see Elon Musk. Actually, I don't know if I'd love to see Elon Musk be Satoshi, but I think it's Hal Finney. So taking a look, let's see, at some of these comments here as well, trying to ride through those. 5 years for an ETF. 3 to 5 years for an ETF I see on Periscope. It looks like the Periscope comments are actually coming through like they should, so that's pretty cool. Fix this real quick. Do the chat a little bit better. Oh, never mind. Not fully working. Whatever. So yeah, I don't know if 3 to 5 years is. I think we might see it shorter than that, but the possibility of it happening in 2019, I'm not incredibly bullish on. I think 2019 might be a sleepy year for crypto than a lot of people. I think there's still like a lot of work to be built out and a lot of work to be done just in crypto in general. And I feel like 2020 is going to be I think it's probably fairly depressing to say that, but being that it's the first going into the second month of February at this point in time. But yeah, I think that's probably right about where we are. What are your thoughts on thanks for the comment there on Periscope. What are your thoughts regarding the new mobile Ledger support? Surely anything mobile related equals security holes. I've seen a lot of commentary on that because I haven't bought the new Ledger. I probably will, just so I have it. I like the Ledger Nano S. I think that's one of the best devices, and I like the Ledger team quite a bit. I think they do a fantastic job supporting the ecosystem. So I'm a pretty big fan of what Ledger puts out on a consistent basis. I do think that, at least in my opinion, from what I've heard, that essentially I believe the Ledger X now utilizes Bluetooth or can communicate between Bluetooth and the Ledger Live on your phone. Some people have said yes, that is that's an additional attack surface from a security perspective. Other folks have said that it is not as big of a deal as one might think. I don't necessarily know if Ledger would have put out the device if it had a gaping security hole. I feel like they've done a pretty decent job, but if you're going to use it, I maybe would just use it in your house or not somewhere incredibly public until some of the security researchers out there are able to kind of continue to test on the device. I don't think it's as big of a deal as maybe people initially thought, but I do like some of the new features of the device, the ability to kind of handle more cryptocurrency. But for the most part, yeah, I'm excited just about seeing how Ledger can kind of continue to develop and advance in the future. Swift using XRP, I think. So I believe that comment is in regards to, this came out, I think this morning. What do we have here? Or is this morning? No, where is it? So this came out this morning, so I didn't get a chance to read this entire document, but Swift apparently is integrating or running a proof. okay, let's relax. So proof of concept is the most favorite term in the crypto landscape. What is so what the hell is what's the proof of concept? What's up, Fritz Charles? Hope all's well, buddy. Appreciate that subscription. So proof of concept is something that partnerships and proof of concepts get continually abused in the crypto landscape. So apparently this got maybe taken so out of hand that the Swift CEO had to come out and say, hey, this is only proof of concept and this isn't the biggest thing since sliced bread. But Swift, which is really the system that powers global banking payments around the world, and something that the cryptocurrency landscape has been kind of aiming to disrupt for quite some time, is apparently testing a payment standard with R3, which is a enterprise distributed ledger DLT kind of player in the space. They don't have a token, so not that many people. They raised traditional funding. I think they raised over $100 million. They're based in New York City, and they have the Corda platform, which is an enterprise DLT banking level platform that allows people to transact with blockchain technology. So they said they're announcing an integration with R3, and I believe there is some ability where, let's see here, at the event. Okay, so we can dive into a little bit further. At the event, Lee Brent was on stage with Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, who has long coveted Swift's expansion banking network and cites its aging architecture. So I don't know exactly. Let's see if we can see exactly what was said. I believe that there is some level of ability. So R3 launched the Corda Settler, an application aimed to facilitate global currency payments with enterprise blockchains, and which would use Ripple's XRP to begin with. So a lot of people are talking about, a lot of people in the hashtag XRP army, pretty jacked up about the possibility that R3's Corda Settler could potentially use XRP, and Swift could be using XRP. I don't know the entire details of this. The one thing that I think is fairly interesting about this is, Ripple is supposed to Ripple's biggest competition, or like what Ripple is trying to displace in many respects, is Swift. Like Ripple's value right now is propagated on the fact that, we're going to kill Swift. We're going to just take Swift down. We're going to wipe it off the face of the earth. So I don't know exactly how this combination of Swift running a proof of concept with R3's Corda platform and potentially having XRP somehow integrated into the Corda platform, how that benefits things. Is it almost a Trojan horse for Ripple? I don't know, but that it's kind of interesting to see how now people in hashtag XRP army are super interested or super excited about XRP being utilized within this, which is utilized in somewhere where XRP is or Ripple and XRP are kind of supposed to kill the Swift global banking payments network. And also how he's kind of on stage with basically the biggest competition. So it's interesting. Dr. Williams, what is going on here? Why are people dissing XRP? Brother, are you new here? Welcome to the Crypto Bobby channel. It's very nice to meet you. So what should people be buying? I would say BitConnect is a major buy right now. Verge is the privacy coin that will likely be part of the future. What else? Empower, EMPR, is a hot new cryptocurrency that pumped up to like top 30 on CoinMarketCap. I talked about this the other day. Where is it? This is, if you want to see something pretty funny, where we got CoinMarketCap. If you want to see some funny shit, here we go. $143 million market cap for Empower. If we go to the website, I believe, yep, MetaMask says this website is phishing. There's a you can't even go to the website without it being called phishing. It's $143 million market cap. And let's take a look at the volume. We have $2,000 of volume. So somebody was literally like buying this at a massive price, or $2,000 worth. And then because of the supply, is jacking this up on CoinMarketCap. This is down 25%. But if you want to see the anatomy of a scam, voila, we have a scam, folks. I missed the proof of hands comments. I banned those, baby. I banned them. Bitcoin private, Bitcoin private is definitely the most private thing out there. We all know that. You all know that. BitConnect X was also pretty damn solid too. So that's Tron and BTT. So am I buying Grin? No, I'm not buying Grin. I think, is Grin finally on CoinMarketCap? I think it was on CoinGecko. There we are. So Grin was, shout out to Loomdart, who is legitimately one of the best traders on crypto Twitter. And he's a damn ham cat, but I think Loomdart's probably the best trader on crypto Twitter. For calling this move a few days before it happened. Grin pumped all the way up to about $14 and is now back down to $6 or so. I think still profitable to mine. I thought there were estimates that it was costing about $1 to mine, depending upon the cost of your electricity, when it went live at least, but still about $6 right now. Due to the inflation of Grin and the supply schedule, I am not buying Grin. I'm interested to watch Grin go live. I think it's primarily traded on Hotbit and KuCoin, I think. But I'm personally not buying Grin at this point, just because I think that it is with the inflation schedule, I don't want to be the one holding the bag. Might be really nice for short-term trades. There might be, really solid opportunities looking at the chart for short-term trades, but like a long-term hodl, I'm not big on the acquisition of Grin at this point in time. But Tron BitTorrent, so this was interesting. And this is something that I'm looking at, to be pretty honest, is, what do we got here? Tron BTC. Ooh, just dumped nicely. Tron has absolutely crushed it in the past. What do we got? How much is Tron up right now? Tron is basically almost to the top of its no, not almost to the top, but from back to its like April, May highs in the little mini alt season run that we had. Tron is almost back to that. It is up, what do we have? From the lows in December, Tron is up 150%. And a lot of this is due to the number one marketing, the Nitron event, where Kobe Bryant spoke, and also the BitTorrent. What do we have? Let's go see if we can find it. BitTorrent. So there's the BitTorrent Tron airdrop that I believe is coming up on February 11th. Where is, let's see, Bitcoin Exchange, Binance? So where is this happening? Pull it up for you guys. The Binance is supporting, and Binance and Tron are weirdly super tight these days, which I find rather interesting. But there is the initial there's the initial BitTorrent airdrop that is happening on February 11th. And there's a lot to talk about here, a lot to unpack here. First of all, Justin Sun is kind of I don't like Tron. I'm going to go out and say that. I am not a big fan of Tron. I think Tron is mostly BS, is what it is. That's my personal opinion. You could think Tron is the next best thing since sliced bread, and it's going to go to the moon, and it's going to be the name of, you can buy into all of Justin Sun's hype and marketing. That's fine. Good for you. You can believe that. I do also think that Justin Sun is a sick little genius with the acquisition of BitTorrent, basically buying BitTorrent and then doing this ICO. Added a ton of value to the price of the Tron token. And then the way in which they're doing this airdrop is freaking genius, because they are airdropping this to Tron. They're airdropping BitTorrent to Tron holders until 2025. Until 2025. That's 6 years from now. So they're airdropping it first on February 11th, and they're doing that monthly for the next 6 years. So rather than just doing a one-time airdrop where everybody's going to buy up the price of Tron, which they're still doing, I will get into my thoughts on this in a second, but they're still doing this. But they're creating artificial demand essentially for the Tron token for the next 6 years. If the BitTorrent token has any value whatsoever, this is going to create artificial demand on a monthly basis for the next 6 years. It is not a one-time airdrop, which we've seen, as you know, in the cryptocurrency landscape, whether it's these Ethereum Classic land drops or, airdrops that have happened, whether it's OMG or a bunch of other things. There's been a ton of airdrops. They happen once. The price of the token or the associated token that you need to hold prior to the airdrop runs up, and then it drops off a cliff the second the airdrop snapshot happens, or shortly there before. You saw it with ZCL and Bitcoin Private. You saw it all over the place. Rather than do that once, Justin Sun's like, hey, fuck you guys. I'm going to do it for 6 years. So pretty sick genius. But what I do think is it's going to, number one, create some crazy opportunities to short and go long Tron if you are a big Tron fan. I think, there's still, I am not going to short. I do not have any interest in shorting Tron right now. But I think when you see this on February 10th or 11th, it is going to be a fun time to watch. You can short Tron on Bitfinex. You can short Tron on Binance. Not on Binance, excuse me, on BitMEX. Granted, you are not a United States citizen. There's going to be a market to drop Tron pretty damn heavily, in my humble opinion. So I do think that it's going to be pretty fun to watch how this shakes out. But again, also, like I said, this is a monthly airdrop for 6 years. So not only is this going to play out once, this is going to play out repetitively. And granted, it'll I'm sure likely change in a lot of this depending upon how the value of the BitTorrent token. But it'll be a fun event to trade if you are a trader. So loving these comments. Makes you want to stake Tron. Butterscotch, have I done more research on Link? Thoughts on Link? I did research on the past. I had a whole video on it back in the day, like over a year ago. I still, what do we got? They had a nice bounce. So good for Tron, or good for Link on the bounce. I don't know. I still would not buy something that I think, at least in my opinion, if you're holding it, good for you. Still kind of looks a little bit overextended to me, so I wouldn't touch Link personally. That's just not my buying something when it's up 400% and the entire market is down. Goes against my every little being in my body. If I miss out on some profit, I'm gonna miss out on some profit, but that's me. Tron is becoming really interesting. That's what they want you to think. probably pull this up and see if there's any. So I've got a few questions on Holochain, on the voicemails too. So I will be doing an episode where I'll be talking a little bit more about Holochain. I'll answer that. So I'll wait on that for the time being. I need to do a little bit more kind of diligence on Holochain before I start spouting off shit out my mouth. Yeah, Rob, got your question. So we'll definitely answer that in the next episode for sure. Have I seen the new Kraken website? I saw a picture of it. What do I got? I personally don't use Kraken. I've never used Kraken. I've never even signed up for Kraken. But pretty website. Yeah, so I've never actually gotten a chance to use Kraken. I've always just been, for the most part, I mean, I've always only needed to use Coinbase, which is kind of, I mean, for my needs, for my usage, Coinbase has always worked well. I've had a Coinbase account since December of 2013. I've always been happy with that. One of the funny things, or one of the interesting things about Coinbase, this is, so let me pull this up here. Let's just mute this for a second. You guys are halfway interested in seeing this. So this was one of the videos that I think a lot of you may have found the channel through, but if we sort by the newest, I swear to God, so I never got a video on, I hadn't gotten a video on anybody using, or on this video, like, you know, there's nobody really getting into the crypto space anymore at all. There really isn't, or at least from this video. For a while, I got a ton of views every single day. It's crazy. But so I got a ton of views. Now I'm getting all these comments randomly. I swear to God, a Coinbase competitor paid somebody for this. You got, like, people aren't even watching the video. The title is "Don't use Coinbase, use GDAX instead to eliminate fees." It's not even GDAX anymore. It's Coinbase Pro. But good and smart video. I completely agree. Cannot use Coinbase. It's impossible. Coinbase don't let you have fees. How will they earn money then? I watched the video. Thank you very much. I will never use Coinbase. Fee is not the problem. Lack of security. Never use Coinbase. I will never use Coinbase. Agree. Never use Coinbase. Terrible high fees at Coinbase. That's weird. Coinbase been taking 40 to 50% in fees. Another manipulator. But avoid Coinbase. Like, I swore, like, I never got a comment on this video for the past like 6 months. And then all of a sudden people are like, all these random like spammy comments are like, Coinbase is a scam. Coinbase is a scam. Coinbase is a scam. And yeah, Coinbase does some weird shit, but I don't know if Coinbase is a scam. And I swear there is some exchange competitor that like paid to have like Fiverr comments listed on the website, which would be pretty funny if that is the case. Other than that, maybe people just got scammed by Coinbase. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe that's the case. Yeah, shooter crypto McGavin. Kraken took 5 months to get verified during summer of 2017. When I finally run, bull season was over. Hell with them. Yeah, Kraken had a bunch of issues during the kind of bull run of 2017. There were verification issues. They like redid their platform basically in the heart of the bull run. And that was interesting if you look back too, because there's a bunch of like Binance really crushed it in 2017. And part of that was like, you know, Bittrex was the altcoin exchange for a long time, or for a decent amount of time. But both Bittrex and Poloniex it was Poloniex and Bittrex. But both of them, I believe, shut down new user registrations, while Binance was like, hey guys, come over here, free candy. And Binance just went whoop, and Bittrex and Poloniex didn't necessarily like fully. Poloniex definitely dropped off pretty hard, but Bittrex did as well. And it was like that time in 2017 where there was this whole flood of new users And there were certain companies out there, exchanges, that were able to, welcome those users, and then certain ones just couldn't, either their systems, their infrastructure, their support couldn't handle it. Kind of interesting historically looking back at who is now like prominent or still most popular versus who lost a lot of steam because of their inability to handle the rush of new users. Yep, Quan, when I joined in January 2018, a lot of exchanges weren't taking on customers. Yeah, that was just a crazy, just mad rush of all the people that were signing up and trying to join these crypto exchanges. And a lot of them were just overwhelmed and understaffed. And it's also kind of crazy too, because, you had January 2018 of Coinbase or, Kraken or Binance or Bittrex or Poloniex, and they hired up all these customer support staffs, and they staffed up all this, to meet the demand. And then unfortunately, and this has kind of happened across the industry, where you've started to see a lot of these layoffs. A lot of the layoffs, in my opinion, were because December and January happened of 2017, 2018, where the industry, just fucking exploded. And then all these companies were like, hey, we need to scale up to support this growth. And then the growth just didn't sustain. And if it was slow and steady growth rather than this massive 20x bubble of volume and of new users and things like that, that kind of decision to staff up like that, and then the subsequent layoffs that have happened since, probably wouldn't have happened as severely. So Dale Thomas, this is a good point too. The 2019, the death of exchanges. So I talked about this in the last video. If you guys put this down, got. So Liqui, which shout out in the comments if any of you guys have used Liqui in the past, but Liqui is one of the exchanges out there. Oh, that's funny. JTact on Periscope, that time you could find new Binance accounts on eBay for sale for $10 to $100. That's pretty funny. I actually completely forgot that people used to sell their Binance accounts on eBay and shit. That was a wild time. So RIP and peace to those times. But Liqui shut down because there's a lack of liquidity. They're allowing users to withdraw their funds. And then you have Cryptopia was hacked. There is a Canadian exchange that has not allowed users to access their money for a few months now. I forget exactly the name of it, but a bunch of different exchanges that are around. And the centralized exchanges, I think that you're going to start seeing more and more of these smaller centralized exchanges start to see some issues. So if we go down, it's the exchanges are down across the board. So we can see, exchanges are down across the board. I forget the exact volume numbers from like December, January, but they were absolutely massive. Right now we have 24-hour volume on Binance is the most heavily. This is not including BitMEX and some of the other ones out there, but about $500 million of 24-hour volume on Binance. But if you go down, number one, a lot of these exchanges are full of shit. There's a ton of wash trading. There is a ton of fake volume on many of these exchanges. The actual volume, I would doubt, is significantly lower than you're seeing here. Like half these exchanges, I mean, what are they and where are they from and who are they? I don't know. But if you go down the list, there is, as soon as you go down and go down and go down, there is it's crazy that Bittrex is now the 54th largest. It was top 10, top 5 for quite a bit of time. The fact that there's only $22 million of volume on Bittrex nowadays is pretty crazy. But you have Gemini at 13 million. That's so the fact that Gemini and Bittrex, which are relatively, if not very, Gemini is highly regulated. Bittrex is also pretty damn regulated. Itbit, Poloniex, those are all like US based, very regulated exchanges. Like Kraken as well, 74. But like some of these exchanges, I have never ever heard of them. And they're doing $200-300 million in volume. Get the frig out of here. No way in hell. There's a ton of wash trading going on there, but I think getting to the point, I think a lot of these exchanges, especially as you get down here, there are I mean, I don't know how many. There are hundreds and hundreds of exchanges that are doing not too much volume at all anymore. And it gets to the point where, how much is it costing them to run these exchanges? And how much are they making on fees? Probably not as much as they used to. So Bobby is live and the market goes up. Definitely manipulation. I haven't. Where are we at? Let's see. I don't think we're looking at BTC or NTC. I don't know if that's real. So I'll look at Bitcoin. Maybe I got to start streaming in the morning. Hey, we're up $40. Yeah, maybe I got to start streaming in the morning. Maybe that's the move. These nighttime boozing on crypto happy hour, maybe crypto coffee hour is the next thing to turn around the market. That's what I got to do apparently. Freeman Young, what's up, brother? Can you touch on buying on OTC and selling on exchanges? Will this keep us in a bear market? I don't necessarily. Is this really coffee? Yes, it was iced coffee. There's not much left, unfortunately. I could definitely use some more. If you think I'm drinking anything else at this point in time, it's 8:27 in the morning. So if you think I'm drinking anything else at this point in time, you're out of your goddamn mind. But so I think, as far as buying OTC and selling on exchanges, I don't know kind of what the full use case you think for that might be as far as getting some type of significant discount or anything like that. A lot of, depending upon the OTC desk and what you're trying to do, oftentimes you're going to pay a premium because you're executing a large block order. Also selling on exchanges, the liquidity that you might have there. I mean, there's a lot of dependencies to that. I don't think that people buying OTC, a cryptocurrency, and then selling it on an exchange is what would be keeping us in a bear market. I would tend to thoroughly disagree with that type of sentiment. Coffee with Irish cream. I know how you roll, Bobby. I drink my coffee black like a normal human being. So we black, no milk, no sugar, no cream. Let's go. That's how we drink it. Made it here late. Can I get a quick recap if possible? So a couple different things I've spoken about. If you are just joining, if you are on YouTube, if you're on Periscope, shout out to everybody on Twitter/Periscope as well. And then two, I think we have one person that's on Twitch right now. So shout out to the one person. This is the first time I've ever streamed to Twitch and or Periscope. So shout out if you're on either Twitch or Periscope. Appreciate you taking the time to join there as well. Hit me up with I don't even really know exactly how Twitch works, but hit me up with subscribe on Twitch. You'll like that there. And then on Periscope as well. But a quick recap for anybody who just joined. A couple different things we talked about. So number one, talked about Fidelity entering the crypto custody business. A big deal, in my personal opinion. I think Fidelity is it is as big of a deal, if not a bigger deal than Bakkt. Fidelity is a household name. They are, not creating a new entity, and they are going to, at some point in time, allow for the opportunity for individuals to custody for larger institutions and potentially individuals to custody Bitcoin in what would be deemed as a very safe manner. It is a highly trusted name in the industry, and I think a lot of people would rather go the Coinbase route, the Fidelity route, than going with the Coinbase custody or a BitGo or a Kingdom Trust. Some of the other custodians out there. I think Fidelity has a name that carries a lot of weight and provides a lot of comfort rather than some of these newer upstart custodians out there. So I think just recapping that, Fidelity is going to be a big deal. Or it's a positive development. I'm not going to sit here and say, Fidelity is going to custody Bitcoin, and now now every institution in the world is going to come out and put their, buy Bitcoin and keep it with Fidelity, and Bitcoin's going to go to the moon. I'm definitely not saying that, but it is a positive development. You want to see this type of infrastructure being built out. You want to see these types of companies entering the space in numbers. If it's a good sign for the industry, I'll say that. The second thing I talked about was the launch of WBTC, which is wrapped Bitcoin tokens. And it is going to be interesting. It happens at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time in the US. It's happening this evening. So you're going to be able to trade essentially a version of a token on Ethereum that is tied one-to-one to the price of Bitcoin. So what this will allow you to do is really trade and hold Bitcoin on decentralized exchanges on Ethereum. So very easily you should be able to do that. There's a number of companies and dexes that'll be supporting that. The one reason I know this, as I said before, is I've been working on this kind of initiative at AirSwap, Kyber as well, DDAX, Republic or Ren. And then, you might also be able to work on lending Bitcoin, non-custodial, or, with no really middleman on compound finance. There's going to be the opportunity potentially in the future to have Bitcoin collateralized CDPs on Maker, which would be pretty fun. So there's going to be a lot of really interesting things, potentially a decentralized way with DYDX to short Bitcoin tokens without having to go on BitMEX or anything like that. So some pretty cool things I think that could come out of this initiative as well. And then just answered a bunch of questions. So if you joined late, that was some of the things that I had talked about and discussed at this point in time. It's too darn cold to drink anything cold this morning. Yeah, it's not that bad in New York City. I'm going to be pretty honest. It's I think it's like 30 something degrees. So I don't think we're really getting worked on that cold streak at all. So shout out to Agung Luxano. I can't pronounce your name, but I believe that was a subscription somewhere. So shout out Agung. What's that guy from BitConnect doing now? I think he actually is. Where's our homie? Carlos Matos. He has a YouTube channel. He actually has a YouTube channel. What's his YouTube channel? Shout out to our man, the myth, the legend.
Hey,
what's up, homie?
Hey, 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 hey. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone from around the world. This is Carlos Matos, directly from New York City, New York. Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Carlos Matos, we also coming from New York City, New York as well. It's crazy, right? New York City, New York. Who knew Carlos? Man, he cracks me up every time. Prof Wally, I appreciate it, brother. Yes, I will definitely take that super chat and have a beer with that. So I appreciate that very much. Shockingly, at 8:30 in the morning, I'm not drinking a beer. I do have to go to work in a little bit, so I will not be drinking prior to work. That would not be a good thing at all. Actually that's a good so there's two good tips for everybody out there. Actually, 2 or 3 good tips. So now might be a good time to buy. Now might be, but the time to sell is absolutely when James Altucher, Ty Lopez are back in the YouTube ads. Not specifically, I think Ty Lopez advertised in the YouTube ads anyway, but it's about social media marketing now. When we got Ty Lopez back making podcasts about crypto, I don't think he's made a podcast about crypto in a while, RIP in peace. But when you got Ty Lopez back making podcasts about crypto, when we have James Altucher all up in your Google ads and literally stalking you every single where you look, and then maybe when you have Carlos Matos back in the crypto game, that is the time to start dollar cost averaging out of crypto. That is not the time to dollar cost average in. Next time I see that, we will be on the way out. So... And Katy Perry's nails. Yeah, if Katy Perry is rocking Monero and Litecoin nails, shout out to Katy. I hope she's still bag holding out there somewhere. Katy Perry nails for sure. It's definitely the way you want to when you should run. So I'll put together a list on Twitter for you guys so that you can really get a good feeling for when you should sell sell your crypto, or when Rhett Cretan blocked on Twitter. I think there's like 3 people on Twitter that blocked me. It's Craig Wright, aka Fake Toshi, or Professor Satoshi. So Craig Wright blocks me on Twitter. Rhett Cretan blocks me on Twitter because I called him a scammer. And then I think that's about it. Chris Andre, who's in this space? OGs, traders, and the 200 assholes watching. Bobby, you guys are not assholes. You're fantastic people. And no one else gives a shit until a $6,000 break is confirmed. Well, that's that's great. But Chris, you watch your mouth. The 250 people actually that are watching right now are not assholes. They are wonderful people, and they're taking time out of their day to enjoy me talk about mostly nothing. So we're here working out. Guys, at this point in time, I really do. I'd love to sit here and talk all day long. I actually have to go to work, so I will go ahead and do that. I'll be to work by 9 o'clock, hopefully. But if you are new to the channel by any chance, the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. If you've enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. Helps to get this video out to as many people as possible. And like I said a few different times, started to stream this out on Twitch and then on Periscope as well. So hopefully you guys can watch this literally on any place possible. I'm not going to stream it on Facebook because I'm too lazy, and I don't think anybody under the age of 40 uses Facebook anymore. So we won't stream it on Facebook because I don't even have a Facebook page, just the Facebook group. So hopefully hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and a fun time hanging out with all of you guys today as well. But let me know if you have any questions. As always, I will be around in the comments on Twitter and all that good stuff all day long. Hope you guys have a good one. Take it easy. Peace.